So I'm assuming like everyone know the basic of JavaScript. Let's say we have this page. Okay. Inside this page, we have this H1, and in H1, let's say hello is there, and we have a text box. Okay. And we have a button. Let's run this project. Okay. So what I need to do on click of this button, I need to read the text box value. Whatever I have entered into this text box, on click of this button, I need to read the text box value in normal HTML. How do we do that? In normal JavaScript, how do we read the text box value?
Document dot
Document
get
dot get element by using dot inner text.
Inner HTML.
Correct?
Get
No, dot value. Okay. See, even though we work on Angular, na, basic of JavaScript should be clear because they might ask you anything, right? They won't expect you everything you should know, but at least basic you should be aware. Okay. So what we will do on click of this button, how to write on click, read value, a function name. We need to create this function name, round bracket, curly bracket, enter. Now here, constant text box. Okay. Here I can write document dot get element by ID. And here we need to provide the ID. My text box ID is txt name. Okay. So now let's just do this. Let's open console. Now if I click enter some value and if I click on the button, my function will execute. So now if I hover on this, see, once I select this now, my text box is getting highlighted. Means I have selected that particular text box. Means I got the object, DOM element. So we got that object. Why? We selected that particular element by ID. Okay. Now we got that element. So we can access the value also. So text box. Now here, if you see, let me just copy this. And how do we read the input element? By value. We didn't copy the whole thing. Dot value. If it's a display element, we use inner HTML or inner text. But if it is an input element, we use value attribute. Okay. So now the same thing, we can do it over here. So let's say I need one more variable. Text val is equal to text box dot value like this. So this is how we used to do in normal HTML. When we, any scenario is there where we want the object of that particular element. So this is how we used to do. Okay. So see, here we got the text box value. Now the same thing, how do we do it Angular? Now same thing will, the same piece of code will work in Angular also. Okay. Let's close this now. Now in this component, let's use another data binding component I will use. Plus 4209. Okay. Okay. So let's say we have this user app. So inside this, we have two text box and a login button. Okay. I think we are using it already for something else. Let me check if route is created for remaining component. Okay. A data binding is there. Let's try to access the data binding component. Okay. So data binding component is there. So what I will do, the same thing, we will do it over here. So let's create row, column 3. Inside this, I will create a text box. I will provide ID, txt name, and after this call, button. Okay. And here we will say value, get or read value, read. Okay. So now in this component, I have a text box and I have a button. Now on click of this button, I need to read the text box value. Normally what we do, we actually on click of button, we don't need to do that. We will create a variable and we will bind that by using ng model. Okay. But how do we do this like? So let's create a normal function, get value. Let's create this function. The same piece of code, whatever we have written over there, same will work over here also. Text ref is for shortcut from reference. Okay. Document dot get element by id, round bracket, double quote, our text box id, txt name. We can provide it over here. Then whenever we try to access the value like this now, we should always add a null check. So if like if we got the element reference or not. Okay, so txt is not equal to null. So let's create a local variable constant text name is equal to textref dot value. Now it will say like value does not exist. Let's try to access by like this. Okay, I thought it. So we need to provide a data type over here as what was the error over here? HTML element. So we need to provide a data type to this text element. So we can provide as what was it? HTML element. So this is a data type. Okay. So for this variable, we are providing a data type. So as our data type we are providing. So now dot, we should be able to directly read. Still it is giving error. Why? Value does not exist. And square bracket. What is the error now? Value cannot be used on index.html value. In previous version, I used to work, but now in tsconfig, so many rules and regulation are there, so we cannot directly read the value. But same code used to work over here. Okay. Or let's try this like over HTML element or some another thing is there. Anyone remember? Or anyone has seen something like that? What is the data type we provide?
Element ref.
Element inter text is the inner text.
Element ref, I guess.
Element ref. No, it won't work. Element ref will only work in the directive. Here we cannot access that particular element as element ref. Okay, let it be. Let's not waste time. But the same code will work because this is the new project. So many in tsconfig we have so many restriction, right? So that's why it is not allowing to read the data. But same code will work in Java, in Angular also. But to do the same thing, we have a concept ViewChild. Okay. Whatever we were trying to get the access of DOM element, we were doing document.get element and providing the ID. We were selecting that particular element. But to do the same thing, now in Angular, we have a separate topic that is ViewChild. Okay. So let's see that now. So I will just comment this piece of code. Now, let's close remaining file. Okay. So now this is the element what we need to read. This is the element value we need to read. So here we first provide the hash property value. Hash, let's say name. Let's go with stud name. Okay. So first of all, whatever the element which you want to access, first thing you need to provide a hash property like this. Okay.
Sir,
Then,
your voice is not audible.
sorry, am I audible correctly?
Yes.
Yes, audible.
Yes.
Yeah, can
Yes.
you check your internet? Okay. So first thing, whatever the element you want to access, you need to provide a hash property over that. Or what do we call this? What do we call it? Template variable. Okay. Template variable or template reference variable or hash property, whatever you fill. Okay. So you need to create that. Then we need to create a view child. So @ViewChild. Now, can anyone tell me what is this? What is ViewChild? What is this?
It is a decorator
Decorator. Which decorator?
to read the
Parameter
DOM
decorator.
element.
No.
Class
In decorator,
Huh?
we have various types,
Parameter
na?
decorator.
No.
Property.
Property decorate, na?
Property decorator.
We are
Property
assigning.
decorator.
This is class decorator. This is property decorator. Host listener is method decorator. Inject is parameter decorator. Okay. In interview question, we will see that, but just be aware. At the rate view child, after that, round bracket, we need to provide the selector. So single quote or double quote, this hash property value, template reference variable value, you need to provide it over here. Then your variable name, view child name. Let's say name text box. Okay. Now data type. What we are going to store inside this very view child? What we are going to store inside this view child? What type of data we are going to get in this view child?
String.
Element.
HTML element, na? So here we have to provide element reference. What data type? Element reference, na? Here we are going to get the element reference, correct? Okay. Now it will say like it is not initialized. Let's add undefined. Okay. So this is how you create the view child. View at the rate view child, and it is capital V, okay, not small v. At the rate view child, then round bracket, you need to provide your template reference variable, whatever the element you have provided, that you need to provide it over here. Then your view child name, data type, element ref. In previous version, it was not necessary, but from Angular 16, it is mandatory now. Well, if we don't provide the element ref, it will provide the compilation error only. Okay. And undefined, why undefined? Because see, whatever the variable we create, we need to initialize that. Now element reference, how we can initiate, na? How we can initialize the element reference. So that's why I'm assigning undefined check. Okay.
Sir, one
Yep.
thing like here the data type would be like any string or anything, right, sir? Why element ref?
See, in this variable, this is a normal variable, but what this variable we are assigning this element value, element object. See, whatever we got by document.get element value, we were getting the DOM element object. So that we are going to assign it over here. Nothing string, nothing number. Element reference. In this view child, we are going to get the reference of this element.
Okay,
Hello,
DOM element.
sir. Yeah, sir. It means in name text box, it contain whole that input,
Whole
right?
everything,
Like,
everything.
okay.
You are
Means
getting object of that element.
can you
Whole element.
we can console run console log. So
Sir, instead of name text box, we can write any name.
Anything. Na, this is your variable. This is your variable. You can name it anything, right?
okay.
Just like this variable, this is also variable. Just this variable is a view child and its data type is element ref. Because in this variable, we have created view child. So that's, and this view child is of elements. That's why element ref. Reference. Element ref means element reference.
Sir,
Clear?
can you try null value instead of undefined?
Let's check. So for null, let's see what is the error. As no, so we have to add undefined only. Null is not taking.
Sir, but undefined we can't use, right? Only compiler use undefined, right?
No.
Any also work.
Instead of
No, this is
undefined, we
value.
can add any.
Any is also work. Right?
Yeah, any will also work.
Yeah.
Okay. See, normal variable we create, let's say this variable. Okay. It is also giving the same error, like it has not initialized. This is a normal string variable, so we can initialize with empty. But this is an element reference. We cannot initialize like new element reference, something like that. Right? So that's why we need to assign something value, either undefined or null or any. Null won't work. But whenever we access the view child, we add an undefined check then. That's why we go for undefined. Getting it now? Why undefined? Whenever we access the view child, we add a not undefined check. Okay. Fine. So this is how we created the view child. First, whatever the element you want to access, you will provide the hash property. Then view child, this hash property, you will provide it over here. Your view child name, data type will be element type. Okay. Now, in this function, how do we access that element value? So let's say constant text Stud name is equal to this dot, your element view child name. What is your view child name? Name text box. Name text box dot. What it is suggesting? Native element. This is equivalent to this. This whole three words we have written now, this is equivalent to this. Then after that, dot value and something you can directly access. Okay, so let's check. Okay, so once I click on this button, you see we got the text box value. So in this element reference, see, if I print this, you get the whole object of that particular element. Now you can do anything. You can add a dynamic style also. Style dot color is equal to red. Why it has not taken? Text box should take na color. Element dot. Let's try over here.
Sir,
So
add border.
yeah. No, color should also work. Native element dot style dot color is equal to red. What it is saying? Left side expression may not be an optional property. Native element question mark dot. Why it is not allowing us? Okay, let's add a null check. Then let's see. And this whole code we will move it inside over here. Still it is getting error. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Let's try now. See, now it got work. So we have done two things. We have read the text box value also, and for this text box, we have added a dynamic style also. So whatever we used to do by document.getElement by ID, we can add a style, we can add a class, we can remove class, we can again what we can do, we can set some value also. Everything, whatever we used to do with that document.getElement by ID, that same thing you can do with ViewChild also. As Angular team suggests, like we should not use direct API. Whatever the browser HTML5 APIs are there, we should not directly use. They have provided a way to access it. So that's the way. If you want the access of any element, na, you should use ViewChild. Clear? Now, those who don't know proper thing about document.get element, like what we can do in JavaScript normal. Okay. So they might get confused. But if you need a any element reference, means object of that element, then you can assign a value, set value, add a style, color, class, everything you can do. Okay. Clear? This is view child. Everyone. Now, why do we need
Yes.
it?
Now,
Yeah.
But
yeah.
ViewChild is mainly for input and output data.
No, input output is something else. This is something else. Input output is like parent and child are there. There we send the data, right?
Yes,
See,
yes.
view child is simply we are getting the access of this element, not just the value, not just something. We are getting the complete access of this element. Element reference, reference of that element. Then you can do anything with that view child. You can read the value also, you can set the style also, you can add the class also, anything. Okay. Yeah, someone else was talking. Okay.
So what is the use of this?
Yeah. So see, whenever we use third-party libraries, let's say we are using Chat.js or PrimeNG or any third-party library, and we want to access some particular element from that element. Now that element is not in your component; it is coming from your third-party library. So in that case, ViewChild is very important. When we have to take a reference of particular element, normally whenever we are using any third party library and we want to do something with that third party library, we do something like this. Okay. But mostly we create the view child of component. Okay. Now that is the next part. So if you want the access of particular element, okay, this is normal element. So how do you create? You provide a hash property over here. Then view child, whatever the hash property you provided, you have to provide it over here. Your view child name, then data type will be element reference. Okay. Then this dot your view child name dot native element. You can read the value, you can style, you can add the class, everything you can do. Okay. Now coming to view child of component. So over if you see, we have this app alert. This is a reusable component. My parent component is data binding. Inside this data binding component, I'm using app alert, which is my child component. Now, just like this element also, we can access this component instance also. Okay. Now see how we do that. So I will create a view child again. Now I want to create a view child of this alert component. Okay. So at the rate view child here, since we are going to create the view child of component. So here we can directly provide the component name. So that will be app alert component. Alert component. Okay. Then your component view child name. So alert comp colon. Now what will be the data type over here? What we are going to store inside this view child? What are we going to store in this alert
String,
component
it
view
should
child?
be the
Component.
message.
Entire component.
Entire component.
Component.
So component
Enter.
class. Getting it? See, in the first example, what we were storing inside this view child, complete element reference. So that's why what was the data type? Element reference. But now in this view child, we are going to create a reference of this component. Okay. So that's why alert component. Okay. Instead of alert now, let's use this button group component. I will explain why I'm not taking that button group component, and here also button group component. Just a minute. Okay. So I'm creating an instance, I'm creating a view child for this button group component. Okay. So that's why here you don't need to provide the hash property value. You can directly provide your component name and your view child name, and the data type will be same. Okay. Again, same error like not undefined. So we will go with undefined, either undefined. Okay. So in my data binding component, I'm using another child component, that is button group component. Okay. So I have created an instance of that. Now in the same function, see constant button component is equal to this dot our button group component. Our view child name is button group component. So if you see, what do we get over here? Once I press dot, see what we are getting it over here.
Button list array.
Button btn list. This is a
Yeah.
function. This is another function. Now let's go to our button group component. Shared button group component. Now see the button group component. We have a input, means normal variable, output, and a function. So these three things you are getting it over here also. Let's create one more variable. Let's say first name, data type string, Rahul. Okay. Now in this button group component, I have created one more variable. See, here also it is coming. Now tell me, what is the benefit of this? Or what in button group component, what we are getting?
All the properties and methods of
Right?
main
Whatever we have in this component, what are the variables, function you have created, you can access all these things in your parent component. Because we have created view child of that component. Let's see also. Okay. If I click on this button, see we are getting Rahul, because from this component, see, if I hover on that now, you get to see everything. In button list, we have 4 array, first name Rahul, this is our event, like that. So whatever properties and the functions are there in your child component, means button group component, that you can access by using a ViewChild. So this is one of the interview question. How do we access child component variable and the function in our parent component? So we have to create a ViewChild of that component, then we can access variable and the functions of the child component in parent component.
Can we change the values also or only access?
Let's try. I didn't also try.
Also, right.
Let's try. And this variable we will print it also, so that we will know like it got changed or not. So first name variable I'm printing in my HTML also. And over here, we will try to change the value also. Ankit, what it is saying may not be optional again. We need to add that if statement.
No, remove that question mark only.
Yeah.
I think.
No, question mark is there. If we remove the question mark, again the same thing, na? Like it is, it can be null or undefined. Object
Okay.
only undefined. So that's why if we add the if statement, it will cover that inside this. Okay. Let's try. On click of, see here Rahul is getting printed because that is the default value. Okay. Yeah, we can change it. See, got it? So we can
Yes.
access that also and we can change it also. Clear?
Yes.
Understood? So ViewChild we use in two ways. First, to take the reference of particular element. But inside that, we have to create a hash property on that element. And that hash property, we provide it over here. Because this was an HTML element. And data type will be element type. But in case of component, we will create the component class name over here also and over here also. But if I remove this, or let's remove this, you will get confused in comment. Now, in my data binding component HTML, I don't have a selector of button group component. So what will happen now? What will be the value over here in this ViewChild? Shall I get the all the variable and the function from this function ViewChild? What will happen?
There is no
No.
parent-child
No.
relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, if I click, this is undefined now. Getting it? Because ViewChild in relation with the component or in relation with this also. If we remove this also, na, see now. Now I have removed that hash property from this text box. This is also undefined now. And this is also undefined. Because it's like in JavaScript also. If you don't provide the ID and you are trying to read the element by that ID, you won't get anything now. Just like that. If you don't provide the hash property over here and that hash property over here, you won't be able to read the data. Just like that. If you don't have the component rendered in your HTML, you cannot have the access of that component. Clear? This is the catch. Whenever you are trying to access the view child of any particular component, if that component is loaded in your template, then only you can get the value. Clear?
Yes.
Everyone?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so view child is very a topic. View child
Basically,
is a
is
topic
from
like, yeah.
transferring data from child component or parent component or what? Which scenario?
Yeah, that is also scenario. See, component communication. What are the various ways for component communication? Component communication. What are
Input,
the various ways?
output, and view child.
If parent-child
Parent-subject.
relationship is there, what do we have? Input,
Input, output.
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 Okay. Or view child that we have seen. Clear? If parent-child relationship is not there, suppose I remove that, I am not able to access it, right? If parent-child relationship is not there, then
Query parents or
Local storage,
service.
service
subject,
file.
right?
Subject.
Param,
Yeah.
you can store in local storage, session storage also. Understood? Fine. So whenever you explain the component communication, this also you need to cover over there. Okay. So clear everyone? This is ViewChild. Again, like if we go in deep, ViewChildren again means in this component you can see app alert is rendered 2 times. So if we create the ViewChildren, we will get array of the multiple component. Okay, but that is used very rarely, so that's why I'm not going into that. Okay. Fine. So let's just take a break of 10 minutes. Then we can start with the project session. So I think in last project session, we have just completed basic CRUD operation. So we will just optimize that piece of code and what are the extra things we can do while doing the CRUD operation. Okay. So let's connect at, what is it, 9:35 now. Let's connect at 50 then, 15 minutes. Okay. Fine. Thank you all. Let's join again. Okay. So this is like get API call. Then on click of edit, we had this button on save, update, and the delete. Okay. So this is normal code we have done for the CRUD operation. Then this is our HTML normal template form. And in the table, we had the by using @ for loop, we are able to show the data we get from the get API. Now, how do we optimize this particular component code? Okay, obviously, again, like this API call, instead of writing it over here, we will move it to service also, that you can do. But I'm talking about just the component. Okay, now just observe the API responses. And first of all, like loader and everything, I will showcase. So once I reload, by default, I should be able to see the loader in the table. If data is means if my get API is in progress, I should see the loader. And once I get the response, then instead of loader, data will be visible. Let me show you what I'm talking. So let's slow the network speed. Sorry, network. Instead of the 3G, slow 4G, I'm doing it. Let's go to some another page. Now, if I move to the car page, see API call is in progress, and let's make it slow only. Okay, let's go back. Now, if I move back to the car page, how do we custom? We need to add profile name, kbps, kbps. Let's say 100. Let's try to do this. Okay, once I navigate, still it is getting. Okay, so you might have seen, like, because APIs are fast and we don't have that much data, so very quick it is coming. Okay, so even with slow 3G also it is coming very fast. Okay, so see, by the time if our API is in progress, the table looks empty. So actual end user doesn't know what is happening. For some time, if we don't show the loader on anything, so sometime table will be empty unless we get the response from the API. So we are creating application for the end user, not for us, right? We know like API call is in progress, and once we get the data will be visible. But end user won't understand everything. So we need to educate him, or we need to tell him that have patience, something is going on, right? So whenever we fetch the data, and that data we are going to show into the table or into the card, we need to show the loader unless we get the data. Okay, so how do we do that? Can anyone tell me how we can do that? How do we show the loader in table?
What the length is equal to 0 is there means we have to show the length.
But that is like, let's say you are correct. One way you are correct. Let's say by default we are initializing this array with empty array. So we could have added a len check. And let's say from API call, you didn't get any data, empty array you got. Then loader will be still visible. Correct? So your code will break in that condition. Correct now?
Yes.
Right? So normally what we do, we create a variable, extra variable. Let's say name I am giving as is loader colon boolean value I'm assigning by
Using
default.
template reference variable.
No, not needed that. See, I'm just creating a normal variable. I'm assigning it with false value. Okay. Whenever I'm making the API call, I need to make this variable true. So this is the function. So before making the API call, I will make this function. I will make this variable true. And once I get the response, then I will make this variable again false. Now, by creating this single variable, we will get to know like if loader is we have to show or not. So before starting the API call, we are making this variable true. And once we get the data, we are making it false. Clear? So by checking this variable, you will get to know like API call is in progress or we got the response. Correct? Now this variable we can use in HTML. So now over here, again, at the rate if condition, I will add this variable. If this variable is true, we have to show loader. Okay. So bootstrap loader I will use. Spinner. This loader I'm using. So these are the div. Now inside this, now inside table, obviously we need TRTD, right? So I will create a TR and I just need a single TD, but that TD should span over the complete TD. What property we need to use it over here to do that? This single TD should take the complete width of the table. What? Call span. Okay. Call span. What are the length? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 call span. So only single TD. Okay. Inside this, I will put my this loader code. Okay. So see, we have created a variable which we are setting it true once API call is in progress. And that same variable we are making it false. Okay. So if this variable is true, let's add a true it. Okay. So if this variable is true, we will render this piece or else at the rate else, we will render our for loop. This piece go into this. So if this variable is true, our loader TR will be visible, else our for loop where actual data will be visible. See now. For very short time, you will be able to see because API speed is proper. Let's go to user app. Once I click on car app, see loader is visible. Once we get the data, then data is visible. Understood? Anyone thought of this solution? Or is there any another simple way to do this?
I tried by, hiding the entire table.
No, but hiding entire table doesn't make sense, na?
But if the table is blank and it's still loading,
No.
so once the data, we fetch all the data, then we can
But
display the table directly.
ideal, like let's say you are working on a proper project. Let's
Mm-hmm.
say on the page load, nothing will be visible over here. So how user will know is it a table or a card view? So that's why if we have a table, yeah. Again, if you have a card view, na, then it's okay. You are hiding all that card. But in table, we need to show this heading, na. In some client need that heading should be there. Data is not there. So here you should show the loader like that. Okay. Again, you are hiding the complete table also. That is also fine. But I was asking like this scenario by creating just a variable, we are able to manage that. This part, like either you would hide it and show it, that you can do. Right? Understood?
Yep.
Anyone?
And how we can make this, for all the component globally, so we should not put this
So,
for each and every component.
Instead of doing this over here, we use interceptor.
Okay.
There also we can create. So we will create a subject whenever API call is there. But again, there we need to add the filters. Like we get the whole application loader also. You won't be able to click anything. So that loader, we do it over there. But again, like again, we need to add the filters also. Let's say,
Voice is getting break in between.
is it?
What?
Remaining voice coming proper? Or?
Yeah, it's
Proper.
absolutely fine, I think.
Okay, fine. So if you add that loader in your interceptor now, so again
Mm.
you need to add a specific check also for the URL. Why? Because let's say you have a drop down over here. For the table loader, if API call is going for the table, you will show the loader. That's okay. But let's say in the form you have drop down, and for the for getting that drop down data also you are calling the API. For that also API you should show the loader or no,
No.
right? So if you have scenarios now, then again for bypassing those particular API which you get the drop down data, again we need to bypass that. So again custom code we need to write. But in some application, it's totally based on the application requirement. In some application they will need you whole application loader. User won't be able to do anything unless the loader goes away. But in some application, let this loader be there, but I can actually start filling the form also. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Understood? If let's say we show the loader overall the application, so until my gate API is not there, I won't be able to start filling also. I don't want to do anything with the table. I just want to create new record. But still I have to wait for the loader to disappear. Correct?
Mm.
So based on the use case, we will go for the whole application loader or a component specific loader also. But if you need the whole application loader, instead of doing it everywhere, we do that in the interceptor. We create the subject and we subscribe to that subject in each component. So at a single place, we do that. Clear?
Okay.
Okay. But this by just doing a single variable also, you should be means this way also be there in your bucket. Because in machine test and so many ways now they will ask you like how we can do that. So if you have in by writing this piece of code in the interceptor and subject, everyone might know it or someone might know it also. But these are very simple tricks. Okay, right? So whenever we do the CRUD operation in the table also we should show the loader. Where else we can show the loader? In the table we have shown the loader. Where else we can show the loader?
After clicking on save car.
Right? See now. Currently on the click of save, we don't have anything. Normal user, let's say I have disabled, let's say his internet speed is very slow. Okay, I will make it offline. Now if I click on 2-3 times save button, see, so many API calls are going. Let's
Mm.
say user who is using our application is having some internet connectivity slow issue, or our server can be busy, right? So if we don't show loader, what normally he will see, I clicked on the button, but nothing is happening. He might click 1 or 2 times. So unnecessary duplicate API calls are also going. Correct?
Yep.
Right? Think of from a user perspective. If normal user clicks and nothing is happening, he will try to click one more time. Correct? So unnecessary duplicate API call with the same data going. We should avoid that. So that avoid duplicate call and showing loader. These two things we can do again with a single variable. Okay. So let's create a single variable again. Now this variable I'm keeping it separate for the table, and one more variable is API call in progress. Data type again I'm going with Boolean. By default I'm making it false. Okay. So now in post API. So before making API call, I will add this equal to true. And once we get the response, either it is a success or error, we should make it false. Here also we should make it false, correct? In once we get the error also, here also we should make it false, na? Or only in the success?
Yeah, both places.
Because API call response you got, na? Success or error, that is another thing. But API call completed, na? So you should make this variable false. Now, by this variable, you will get to know like API call is in progress or not. So this variable we can use on the save button to show the loader. Let's go to Bootstrap again. So here we have this spinner like this. So let's copy this span, and this span we will show it inside this button. Again with @ if condition, @ if span. What will be condition? If this variable is true. Now, here, do I need to add like this?
No.
Is it required
No.
by comparing?
No.
If
No.
needs true or false value, in this variable we have got true and false value. So why you are writing the unnecessary code, right? I have seen people in whenever we get the PR for approval now, even though people are having 7 to 8 years of experience in purely Angular or JavaScript also, now still they will compare like this. Unnecessary, na? Because the data type of this variable is true or false, Boolean. So we are going to get true or false. Why you need to compare it again? Right? Okay. Fine. So if this variable is true, this span will be visible. And if this variable is false, span will be removed. Let's check it now. Again, we have not restricted our duplicate API call. Let me show you first this, then we will reduce that. Just pay attention on the network tab. Let's make it slow 4G. Okay. Just pay attention on the network tab also. Loader will be visible on this. See, loader is coming. Once we get the success, loader is also hidden. Now just pay attention. I'm clicking 3-4 times. See? Whatever number of times I clicked on button, those many API calls are there. But all are unnecessary, right? With same data, we are doing multiple API calls. This is unnecessary, na? Correct?
Yep.
So how do we reduce this?
We should disable this button.
Disable
save
the
button.
button, maybe.
While we click, after the click, we can make it enable again.
What will be the condition to disable the button? We need to write
We
the
create
condition.
another
The same API call is
variable.
true.
This variable only you can use now.
Yes,
Yes.
the same.
What this variable is doing, this variable is letting you know that API call is in progress or not. So this variable only you will use it over here. Either you can disable the button, that is also one way, or here only. But the right way will be writing the code over here. So first we will add a if statement. Can anyone tell me how we can do it over here? Disabled is one way. See, here you can add a disabled flag and you can write that. This is one way, but this is not right way. How we can do it over here?
If not, is API
If
call progress?
not, if,
Right. So if
not if.
this dot, if
car
this
object
variable is
dot.
false, then only we need to make the API call, and this piece of
Yes.
code will go inside this. So if this variable is false, then only with this variable get true. So again, if user clicked on 2 times now, this variable is true now, not false. So it won't go inside. See, let's see. Okay. Slow 3G is there. If I see, I'm clicking, but unless first API call is not there, my function won't get triggered. Because if this variable is false, then only my inner code will execute. But once this is false, I'm making this true. So unless my API call is success or error, this variable still is true only. So it won't go inside. Understood? So you have
Sir,
done.
if this problem is solved by this much simple technique, then why the concept of debouncing?
No, debouncing is something else. Debouncing we do in case of text box.
Text
In
box.
text box, let's say your above table, you have a text box to search, right? And what
Yeah.
code you write on text box change. So every character user enter, you will make the API call. So to reduce that API call, we do use debouncing, but this is altogether different, na?
Yes, yes.
Right?
Oh.
Okay. Understood, everyone? So see, by simply creating variable, you have removed the duplicate API call also, and you have shown the loader also.
Sir, what if sometimes response is not at all coming? Then it go on loading.
No, no. See, there is no API that response, it is API call is in progress only. Somewhere it is going to break and your error block will execute. Na? So here again, we are making it false.
So there is no case of
No.
it's continuously
Somewhere
not giving any
not possible.
response.
Not possible.
Okay.
Because
Okay,
we have a
okay.
timeout period in API.
Okay.
Till that period is there, na, it will.
So then we'll get error.
Right. And in
Yeah.
error, you will get the error, whatever error that you will store it and display it somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Understood, everyone? Loader? Okay. Why? See, like you might remember Arvind code. Arvind has done very extra code, means advanced level code, but not everyone might be aware, like, or because he has worked on type of that project, so he might be comfortable, but not everyone has seen that kind of code, right? But this is basic, right? Okay. So we have seen the loader. Now just see the API response. Okay. So currently how many record we have? 21. Okay. Let's create new record. Let's reload. So currently we have around 21 record. Let's try to create new record. MH314455. Okay. On click of save, our API call will be there. And one more get API call we have done. Now, if you check the response of our get create new car, what are we getting? See, while sending the data, we sent car ID as 0 because that was a primary key. And response, we got the car ID also and the complete object also. This whole object you already have apart from car ID. You have it in your object.
Yes.
Right? Apart from car ID, whole thing you have got. Now, if you check the gate, let me do it one more time. Let's reload. So check the get API call response. You have around 21 record over here. Okay. Let's create one more record now. MH125566. Mahindra 22 blue. Okay. Now once I click on save car, API call will be there, and again one more get API call is there. So this API call was on the page load. Then we created card, and again we make the one API call. But if you see the response of the create car, you got the object. See 1130 and whole the remaining object you only had. And if you check the get API call again, see what was the ID? 1130. The car which we created recently, the car ID is 1130. And if you see the get API call, again you got the same ID over here. Now what can be done over here? Or what is wrong we are doing over here?
Calling that API again that gets the orders.
Was this API call needed? See, from this API call, what we are getting? This object. The remaining object, you had it. But same object you are getting in the API call response also. See? Car ID also you are getting. So why you are making this API call again then? You are keeping server busy.
In my opinion, I need this second call also. I will need it because if another user, they have entered several, I have 10 users, each one is typing.
See,
how I will get those data?
But that kind of approach will come. Let's say if we are talking about an application, Ola, Uber, something like that. Correct? But let's say it's a, what we can say, any bank application or something is there. Okay. And users might be around lakhs also users might be there. But there is very slight chance. Or let's say we are a banking application. Okay. Or banking application or insurance application, something it can be. I am logged in. Okay. Or let's say we are talking about this car booking application. I'm the owner of this application. So will your scenario will come into this picture?
No, that will not come. It will improve our performance.
Right. But let's say your application is going to be used by so many users at a time. Book my show, right? Something like that. So many applications are there where thousands of users are using that application concurrently. There you cannot use.
But I believe we have to, if we are developing a software, at least if 2 users even they are using it. 2 users, I consider 2 users even. It will fail in these 2 users also.
See. Even 2 users. I'm talking about user specific data.
Yeah, yes. If he single user, no problem. It's single user, I can accept this one.
That's what I'm saying.
Not even 2 users.
Based on the scenario. Okay. Let's say we are talking about single user. Whatever the user logged in, this is data is particular to that user. So this is unnecessary API call.
Yes, then it is done.
See what happens now. Whenever we make a get API call, my database is busy for that particular time. My API is also busy for particular time. Correct? So when we work on an industry level project now, where your application is going to be let's say your APIs are going to be constantly getting used from multiple applications. So in PR also, they will check like the API call you are making, is it really needed? Because for you, it's just one API call. But for them, you are keeping API server also busy and database server also busy for that particular second. Correct? So in the same API call, you are getting the same object. Now, so instead of making one more API call, what can be done over here? What we can do?
Cache the data on first call.
No.
We can push
The
that
same
object
way we
in
can
the
add
array.
this node.
This object you are getting na from sir create API. This object you can push to your array na. Then you won't need this API call. Correct? What is the purpose of this get API call? To show the latest data. But latest data you already have it na. So this you can push to your array. So now you won't make this API call. Getting it? Getting it or not? Our goal is
Yes,
to
yes.
avoid this API call. So whatever in create API you are getting, that's the purpose. So many API developer now return this object in the API response. Otherwise, why we need to return this object also na? So that you guys can use it. Okay. So where was that? So you have that you get the response in result.data. So instead of this API call, what you can do? What is our object? Car list. So this dot car list dot push, and what you can push? Result dot data. Okay. So see now. So currently we have 23 record. So after saving also, you will be able to see the data. See. So you have again avoid one API call. Okay. Now coming back to Mahmood question. What if in delete also we can do the same thing? Can we reduce this API call?
Yes.
Right? If you know that record got deleted successfully, so what you can do over here, instead of making this API call?
And use your slice method.
Slice, right? So we have this car ID. So from
Filter
our
also.
sorry?
Filter also work, right?
Yeah, filter or slice, whatever. Right? Okay. So from your array, you just need to remove that element, particular object. Either you use filter, or you use slice, anything. Okay. So let's use slice. So first we need to get the index of particular object. So we have the car ID. So constant car index is equal to this dot car list. What is the way by which we can get the index? What are the two ways? How to get the index of that particular element in that array? Index of we can use it like this. We can use it index of. Guys, we can use index of or no? I have not used. That's what I'm confused.
Gives only the first index of
car ID is equal to car ID. Why it is giving error? Car list. We provided the data type also. Surely index of will work. Return the index of the first occurrence of the value or -1. Index of. Let's see why it is giving error now. I'm not able to understand. Okay, sorry. Here we need to provide the data type. Round bracket, colon, our interface object. This is car list now. Still, what is the error?
One extra bracket added, I think.
Yes. How do we write index of?
Yeah. First, we need two bracket. Yes. Before M, you can add one.
It's not suggesting also something. When normally we use it, it suggests na search element. See what it needs, search element. But how we can pass the element? Now over here we are trying to find. We have the ID. Okay, it needs complete object, right thing. See what it needs, complete object. Then it will get the index. Okay, understood na this? Why we need to pass the complete object? See the parameter. What
No,
it
sir.
needs? Complete object. See the data type of this car list. What is the data type? Array of this iCar list. Okay, remember this. And that's why if you check the index of what it needs, a single object of iCar list means a complete object you will need. Then it will get the index. Let's try. Let's save. So once I this Mahindra, okay, on click of delete. Do we have debugger on? Yes. Car component. Debugger is there. Okay, on click of OK. Yeah, so see, we got the index. So we have to send the complete object. So from this array, what was the index of this particular element? We have got it. Okay, so index of was also one way. I was also not using it. What is the next way?
Yes, also.
Find index better.
Right, find index is there. So this dot car list dot find index. So now here we can pass that lambda expression like this. Car ID is equal to. Now here we can pass the condition to filter the particular element and then it will get the index. Index of require the complete object. Then it will check from this array where is that complete object and then it will return the index. Okay. Find index, we can pass the condition like you need to match with this car ID. Okay. Let's check, save and check now. On click of delete. See here also we got 4. And here also we got 4. Where is the debugger? Okay, it moved outside. We won't be able to access it now. Let's try one more time. Let's try this second row. Delete. Why it is going outside directly? Let's add a debugger one more time. It is not stopping over here. It is directly jumping to the outside. See, here also we got one, here also we got. Okay. What else is there? Index of we have seen. Find index is there. Again. One more way is there, no? Huh? Splice we will use to remove it, but splice needs index, na? Which index element you need to remove? I'm talking about from your array, how do we get the particular element index? Index of is one way, find index is one way. One more way is there, na? What was that?
Filter.
No, filter is something else. Filter will get you the filtered data, right? One more way is there, na? This dot car list dot index of we have tried. Find index. Only two ways are there. Index of include will check like if element is there or not. Find will get you the particular object. Last index of return the index of the last occurrence of the specified value in the array. This is like same like index of. Okay. I thought of this only then. Okay. So first we got the index, then we can use this index to splice. So this dot array dot splice method. And here we need to pass start car index. How many record we need to remove? Only once. So that one. Okay. So without making the API call also, you can refresh your grid. So on the page load, we have this API call. If I remove this, let's remove the 2025 one, Hyundai Creta 2025. If I click on delete, if API call is success, you see that record got removed. Clear? Okay. Now, one more way. So now this variable we are using in HTML also, car list variable. And in now since we saw that
Sir,
other, yeah,
one doubt, sir. You deleted, right? So that is not reflecting in UI.
reflecting now. See, let's delete this Maruti 800. If I click on delete, okay. See, we removed us using slice. So that record got removed.
Okay.
Okay.
Like what exactly you're doing, sir? Like, are you refreshing the page or like what
No,
exactly?
from array, we are just removing that element. See.
So does it instantly reflect in the UI without any like?
Yeah. That is the two-way data binding. Na? When your variable value get changed, your template will get changed automatically. Correct?
Okay.
That is the same thing, na? In
Yeah,
text
but
box.
two-way binding is only for variables, right?
No, no. Two-way data binding means change detection. Once variable value get changed, UI will also display the new value, na?
Yeah, variables will change and it will display, but the
But
whole
variable as in
the whole
here
row is going off.
Here it is array. Inside variable, you will store string, number, integer. Just like that, you can store array also, na? If your array value got changed, means nothing but value got changed, na? So
Yeah.
your for loop will again iterate this for loop. Correct? Understood?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. What I was telling? Okay, async pipe. Fine. So currently what we are doing, this variable we are using at so many places. Okay. But previously we were not using this variable, right? See, like if I comment this, where it was again else over here. Okay. So in Gate API, what we did, we created this variable. Sorry. We created this variable car list and we created one API call, and whatever the data we get, that data, whatever we got, we stored into this variable. Now this variable, apart from in this function, and I'm directly using in HTML only. Okay. I'm not using this variable in my .ts any more time again. So instead of this, we can create an observable also. Correct? And we can directly subscribe the API call response, whatever we get from there, directly in the HTML. What's the problem with this particular code? What is problem with this particular code?
We need unsubscribe.
We need to unsubscribe it. Yeah, first of all, let me show you unsubscribe. How do we unsubscribe? See, whatever the API call or wherever you subscribe, doesn't matter if it is an API call or something, wherever you subscribe, you need to unsubscribe that. Otherwise, there will be a memory leak. Okay. Now, whenever we explain ng on destroy lifecycle event, we normally tell, na, so we use ng on destroy to unsubscribe from the API call or subscription. Correct? So whenever we write something like this, now we should unsubscribe this piece of code. Otherwise, object will be there, which is constantly looking for the subscription changes.
Sir, what is memory leak?
Memory leak means, see, this piece of code, whenever this piece of code execute some code, you are listening to that. So it has created a listener. Okay. It's continuously listening. Whenever this piece of code returns the data, it will listen the data. This is nothing but listener kind of consider. Okay. So if you don't unsubscribe, even if your component get destroyed, still your listener object will be there in the memory. So to free that memory, we need to unsubscribe it. Even though your component got destroyed, now, but your listener will be there. So we need to release the memory, or we need to destroy that listener like that. Okay. So that is nothing but freeing the memory, or what is we call, what is the right word?
Memory leak.
Memory leak, to avoid the memory leak. Okay. So first we need to create the subscription array. So subscription list, data type will be subscription, and here we are going to store array like this. Okay. So first we have to create the subscription array. Okay. Then wherever we make the API call, we need to push this whole object into this subscription list dot push like this. Whole this API call code we can do like this. See how we have written. Let me zoom a little bit. Okay. Let's undo. This was your normal API call function. What we need to do, this whole piece we need to push to our subscription list. Okay. So this dot subscription list dot push or shaped, whatever you feel. We just need to have this element over there. This is one way. Okay. What is the other way? What is the other way? We have created our subscription array. Inside that subscription array, we need to push wherever we are subscribing. This is one way. What is the other way?
We destroy, ng destroy.
No, that
and
thing obviously
unsubscribe.
we are going to do. This is one way to push to the subscription array. What is one more way?
To assign to variable.
Yeah. See, this is also subscription. So what we can do, this whole thing, we can assign it into a local variable. Okay. Data or something. And now this data, you can push to your subscription array. Now this looks proper. This looks proper or this looks proper?
Bottom one.
Right?
With pushing the data.
So this sometimes you might get confused with the round bracket and everything. So this like whole thing you are storing into a variable, then that variable you are pushing it to a subscription list. So wherever you are making the API call, okay, const data, you need to push it to the subscription list. Okay, data like this. And then we need to implement ng on destroy. So whenever you explain lifecycle event, this you need to explain without forget on destroy. At the end, we need ng on destroy. Okay. Now here, this dot subscription list dot. Do we have unsubscribe? No. What we need to do over here? One more way is there also, na? Instead of using for loop, we can do one more.
Directly assign to variable and then variable dot unsubscribe.
Okay. So this we can assign it to a variable over here.
No. In the code, line number 79, we can create one public variable or private variable, and
we have created subscription array. Let me complete this first. Okay. So one way is we have to create the object array of subscription. Okay. Then over here, since this is an array, so we have to make use of for each loop, for each, and this dot subscription, and element H will be a subscription array. Then we can unsubscribe. Yeah. So this is one way. What was the other way you were talking?
direct create one variable and assign that call to that variable. But this work with single singles.
No. Same like this, one more way is there. Where we don't need that for loop. By using direct subscribe, we do that. I am not recalling that. In my code, I use it, but I'm not recalling it now. Means instead of for each, we are using a for each loop, then unsubscribe. This is also unnecessary. So instead of creating like this, one more way is there. Subscribe colon subscription. What was that? Subscription. Okay, let it be. I will check. So instead of here you can see in ng on destroy we have to use the for loop and each element we are unsubscribe. Instead of that, now we create something else where directly unsubscribe will come. Okay, but same thing remaining will be same. This thing won't change. Okay, fine. So this is what you should do. Again, it's not like I'm making the API call over here. That's why I need to do. Even though this function is inside the service, now still you are subscribing. Wherever you subscribe, either you are listening to your subject also, that also you need to push to your subscription and you need to unsubscribe. So whenever you are doing subscribe, you need to unsubscribe that. Okay. Fine. Understood everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it's getting very late. So observable, I will explain it tomorrow, async pipe. Okay.
One question.
Yeah.
Actually, some APIs we need first to
Yeah,
form,
yeah.
like
Yes.
category वगैरह.
We will discuss that. Let me stop the recording.